They say that December is one of the most cruel months of the year. As winter approaches, everything becomes cold and icy. Are you ready for Dunkcember? Here we are, yes. For those wondering what is going on, we are here for the whole of December. We can share those cold nights together and cuddle up nice and warm. It is December the 1st, 2022. Hello there. You will either love that music or hate it. Personally, I think it's really, really good. Here we go again. We're back. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. Hi, everybody. As my voice already starts to break down, isn't it great? Where's my water? They say that the broadcaster's worst nightmare is their voice failing whilst they're presenting. And here I am already having difficulty with my throat. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you feeling happy? I hope you are feeling good today, because we are with you not just today, but also for the whole of December. Almost. I can't stress enough the fact that it's almost every day. So we are here today, and we have a very busy weekend as well. Saturday and Sunday, we will be with you live. On Saturday from the Much Wenlock Christmas Fair, and on Sunday we are with you as usual for 2 hours, and then lots and lots of other times as well during the month of December, or should I say Dunkcember. Yeah, can you see what I did there? We are back together again. Of course, it's not just me. Joining me also here in the studio, I've given him his own corner, a special place for him to live. Mr. Steve, of course, he is here right now.
Hello everyone. Oh, Mr. Duncan, this is so different. I am stuck in a corner of the studio, all on my own. I can see you though. I can see you, Mr. Duncan, peering over the top of one of your big screens where you control everything, like somebody that's in control of everything.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, Mr. Duncan, this is very exciting. Something new for December. Am I going to be here every day?
Well,
Is it just, have I got the option of being here or not?
it's up to you, really.
Right, well, we'll keep that as a surprise for our lovely viewers.
So you may have already noticed things are slightly different with the studio. Mr. Steve is over there and I'm over here. And, well, all I can say is it's nice to see Mr. Steve here. And also we have the live chat already, Steve.
It's very busy, Mr. Duncan. The live chat is very, very busy today.
First of all, can I say congratulations? Guess who was first today? First on the live chat, it's Claudia. Congratulations to you.
Well done, Claudia. You're very keen to be on there first today. Obviously, no cooking going on at the moment. Maybe later.
Yes, I'm just wondering what is going on. Are you cooking something today, Claudia?
We'll find out. People are talking about the weather, which is interesting, Mr. Duncan. Amateur chess Amateur chess. Hello, amateur chess. You must obviously be quite clever if you're playing chess. Maybe we could do a game over the internet.
Can I just ask you a question? Are you somehow slumping back?
No, I don't know. I do bizarre things when
Because-
do you want me to move up? There we go. Go on my tiptoes.
Well, that's better, yes. I don't know what you were doing then. It looks,
Upright.
It looks as if you're starting to get down on your hands and knees.
Well, I do move around.
Anyway,
Amateur Chess, who's in Algeria,
hello.
said that it's very cold there. Well, interestingly enough, Mr. Duncan, I saw a news report yesterday that talking about long-term weather forecasts, which of course, as we know, are notoriously unreliable. Well, they are in the UK. I think 10 days ahead is about the maximum that they can predict. But they are saying that we are going to get a blast of cold weather from the east. They are predicting another beast from the east. And I'm not talking about a certain leader of Russia. I'm talking about something that they called a number of years ago. I can't remember when it was now. We had this blast of very cold air from the east, which, of course, to the east of us is basically sort of Russia and most of Europe. But a lot of cold weather, of course, comes from that part of the continent. And we always worry when we start to get easterly winds in the winter because it means snow, it means cold winds. And they are predicting what they are calling it, a beast from the east, that is going to come and increase our heating bills quite significantly, Mr. Duncan, which is quite good because the price of oil is dropping, so that'll be good for us. So yes, it's cold, it's getting cold, but we are warm in the studio, Mr. Duncan, and we are going to warm you up with our cheer and happiness throughout December. So that is the message that I'd like to get across at this point, Mr. Duncan.
Good. Well, I think you did it very well. So Mr. Steve and myself, we are here and we will be with you a lot of times during the month of December. Things might seem a little different, but it's still the same old us, I'm afraid, myself and also Mr. Steve. Can you believe it's December already, Steve?
I know. I've got to start thinking about Christmas presents. And I think we pointed out on Sunday, or I might have pointed out on Sunday, there is one. I'm not having to buy very many Christmas presents. I think the only person I'm going to be buying Christmas presents for is you, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, good.
I don't think that there's anyone else that I need to buy Christmas presents for.
Yes. Well, there's no one else that you should be.
Well, because, I mean, we don't, within the family, my mother, I used to buy her a Christmas present, but my sister and I stopped buying Christmas presents a number of years ago.
For each other?
For each other, because it seemed pointless, because we'd always buy each other things which we didn't really want. It just became very difficult. So we still do birthdays, but we don't do Christmas anymore, Christmas presents. I don't buy Christmas presents for friends. We've stopped that because it just seemed pointless buying rubbish.
Yeah.
But I spoke to somebody the other night at a rehearsal who has 11 grandchildren. 11 grandchildren, so they have to buy at least 11 presents for them. So I do feel the pain of, mind you, maybe you enjoy it. If you've got a large family and you have to buy lots of presents for children, for grandchildren, 11. That's a lot of presents that they've got to buy.
Yeah.
And that's even before they buy for each other.
Steve, it's all about kids, really.
It's all about kids.
It isn't adults. Why would adults be so worried about Christmas? I think it is more about the kids, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't remember, and I feel slightly guilty about this, I don't remember buying my parents Christmas presents. I don't remember it at all. I don't think I ever did. And now I feel really mean and horrible because of it.
You didn't buy Christmas presents for who? Your parents?
My parents.
Oh, I used to make them things. I used to make something out of. I don't know, clay or paper or something.
Clay.
I used to make them things, which I'm sure that they treasured. Although,
Yes.
strangely enough, I can't find them anywhere, so I
I-
would imagine it got thrown out.
I'm pretty sure they did not end up in the waste paper bin.
It was Jimmy's birthday. I don't remember when that was, but apparently this is Jimmy's first. Jimmy from Hong Kong, hello. His first live chat since his birthday.
Oh,
So when was your birthday? It wasn't last Sunday, was it? I don't think so. Anyway, but happy birthday for whenever that was. We missed that one.
so please tell us when your birthday was, Jimmy, in Hong Kong. Very nice.
So what excitement have you got in store, Mr. Duncan, for today's... How long are we on for, by the way, today?
About
Or-
an hour.
About an hour.
I've already told you this.
I know, but it's for everybody else.
Well, it doesn't. No one cares really how long we're on for, as long as we're here.
We are here.
And we are here not just today, but also on Saturday and on Sunday as well. And next week we will be popping up during the month of December doing some special things.
Are you on tomorrow?
No,
Okay.
no, not here tomorrow.
Not here
as, I,
tomorrow.
as I just said, we're back on Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday, and of course, because Saturday we've got something special lined up, haven't we, Mr. Duncan?
We
I'm
are,
Sure
we
you will
are.
talk about that.
Well, I've already mentioned it. I've just mentioned it.
Good.
Good. The Much Wenlock Christmas Fair is coming up on Saturday, and we will be there live, hopefully. It all depends on whether we can get a signal, and also if we don't get beaten up by someone as well, hopefully. But yes, we are at the Much Wenlock Christmas Fair on Saturday, and I'm excited, to be honest, and the reason why I'm so excited is because we will have a chance once again to sample some of that lovely junk food that they serve every single year. Beef burgers, hot dogs. I still don't know why they call it a hot dog. Why?
Maybe it looks like a sausage dog, one of those dogs with the very long bodies and short legs. I'm not sure. It's a sausage in a bun, but they call it a hot dog. We don't know where the dog. I wonder where the dog bit comes from.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Maybe it means it's awful meat.
Yes, well, that's the point I'm making. It's very strange that something you eat actually has the word dog in the name.
Yes, and it's effectively pork. So it's not dog meat. But yes, we will be there. If the weather is good, we will be live. Won't we, Mr. Duncan? If not, we will record it.
Even if it's snowing, even if the wind is blowing and it's freezing cold, we will be there. You will have a chance to watch two people freeze to death live on YouTube. So don't miss it. On Saturday from 2 p.m, we will be live at the Much Wenlock Christmas Fair.
Claudia's working, so she won't be able to be there live, but you'll be able to watch it later.
Yes.
Hopefully, and we'll probably show excerpts on Sunday as well from all the fun that we will have at the fair on Saturday. It should be very good fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to wear. What shall I wear?
Lots
of
clothes.
warm clothes.
Lots of clothes.
I seem to remember from previous, because I think the weather's going to be pretty much as it is today, which is virtually no wind. We've had no wind.
No.
Well, at least outside. We've had no wind for several days. There's a sort of northeasterly wind, and it's a sort of light breeze. It's been very foggy, very misty, very November. I would say this is like November weather rather than December. But yeah, it's. I'd like to be in Italy. Francesca says that it's not so cold in Rome at the moment, so I'm sure it will be a lot more pleasant.
But of course, they did have some terrible weather last week that caused a landslide on one of the Italian islands. That was
That's right.
absolutely terrible. Terrible pictures. But what I noticed also, they mentioned a few times in the report, I don't know how true it is, but many of the buildings were actually built illegally. So maybe that's one of the reasons why some of the buildings didn't survive. But yes, a terrible, terrible event that took place last week. And the weather at the moment here is not too bad, but it's going to be cold on Saturday. It's going to really feel as if winter is in the air. I think so.
Rajendra Singh says hi from India. Good evening, rather. So it must be evening time there, which probably, yes, that will make sense. You're ahead of us. Probably 5 hours or so, I would think, or more.
Yes. I would imagine it must be about maybe 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
It must be. So thank you for watching us. There's quite a few people on that I don't recognise today, probably because we're on a different day, and maybe some new people are finding us. So, yeah, fantastic. Some names that I don't recognise. So, yeah, please feel free to write things in the live chat. We love to hear what you're thinking and feeling as we progress through this lesson today. Feels very odd being over here, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
I'm having to hold up a pad. There's some writing on the back of this.
Okay.
Oh, right, that's interesting. Mr. Duncan's written things on the back of this pad, so I'll have to be careful not to hold it up. So yes, I haven't got a table to write on. Maybe we can fix that for Sunday, Mr. Duncan. I'm not moaning. Just, I feel as a little out of place, stuck in this corner by the toilet.
I spent the whole day, with your stomach at the moment. I did notice this morning, because last night, Mr. Steve made the most amazing meal with lentils, potatoes, and every vegetable that exists on this planet. And to be honest, it's really made my stomach very active, and also Mr. Steve's stomach as well, definitely.
I left the skins on the potatoes, which is supposed to be good for you. We had lentils with brown rice, broccoli, potatoes with the skins left on. So as you can imagine, that's a lot of fibre for those little bacteria to work on in our guts. So as I said, it's not windy outside, but it is definitely windy inside.
Yes, inside Mr. Steve's underpants. Definitely.
It's 7:30 p.m. in India.
Okie dokie,
says Rajendra. So thanks for that. So what time is it here? 2:30. About 5 hours. About 5 hours ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, about halfway to Malaysia, which is 8 hours ahead. So that's about right. I can see you, Mr. Duncan. It's quite strange looking at you from this angle.
I can actually look at you and you can look at me.
Yes, I'm not sure I like that, really.
I can actually look straight into Mr. Steve's eyes.
You can see if I'm getting upset or unhappy about something you've said.
Which happens virtually all the time.
Well, so far so good.
As I was mentioning earlier, Steve, it is already December. This year has gone by so fast. And you know what they always say? You know what they say, Steve?
What?
You have to look at me.
I can't see it. Time flies when you're having fun.
Time flies when you're having fun. Apparently, This is what a lot of people say when they are having a good time somewhere. And then they realise that it's actually later than they thought. And people will often say, time flies when you're having fun. So that can only mean that if you're not having fun, would you say that the opposite?
Definitely, Mr. Duncan, definitely.
So how would you express that?
I don't know. We need to think of a nice sort of rhyming passage that will describe the feeling that time seems to lag or seems to slow down if you're doing something that you don't enjoy.
You could
like work or
yes.
being at school, something like that. In fact, I was discussing with a colleague today about work and how when it's boring, how time seems to drag. And it just, when you're bored, you can watch the clock, the hands seem to almost go backwards.
Yeah.
But yes, when you're having fun and you're not thinking or worrying about anything, time seems to go faster. When you're bored or you are unhappy, time seems to go slower.
I think so.
What?
So
Do we need a rhyme?
it doesn't necessarily have to be a rhyme, because this isn't a rhyme. It doesn't rhyme. It's just a proverb. Time flies when you're having fun. So you might say that time drags when you're not having fun. Time drags. It goes slowly. So you actually used a pretty good word there, Steve.
Drags. It feels like something's holding it back, slowing it down. Yes, doesn't the time seem to drag when you're bored?
In fact, we sometimes joke, don't we, Steve?
Yes, all the time.
If we realise that the day is not going as fast as we thought, maybe we think that it's 4 o'clock, but then when we look at the clock, it's only 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And normally we have a little joke with each other. We normally say, today is dragging.
Yeah.
Even though it isn't. Because we're relieved that the day is not going fast. We're actually glad that we still have a lot more time of the day to enjoy.
But yes, it's a good phrase to use if time seems to be going slowly. Oh, isn't the day dragging? Isn't the day dragging? Or isn't the evening dragging? Or isn't this meeting dragging? It just means it's going on for longer than you would imagine.
Yeah.
Something happens in your mind when you're bored or you're not switched on to something that you're doing or watching. You can be watching a film maybe and it's boring. The time seems to drag. And it's almost a feeling, isn't it? It's a palpable feeling that you have when time seems to be dragging. Yes, it's a good phrase to use, Mr. Duncan.
Are we having that feeling now?
Well, I certainly hope not, Mr. Duncan. I hope that our viewers don't feel that time is dragging, or we'll be losing them quite rapidly.
Good. Thank you for drawing attention to it. So time flies when you're having fun. When everything is good, it seems to go rather fast. I suppose also. Now, since you stopped working, Mr. Steve,
yes.
This is a serious question, by the way. Very serious question.
Yes.
Very serious. I'm being serious now.
You want me to think?
Do you find that time is going faster or slower since you stopped working?
About the same, I would say, because I'm not getting up till 11 o'clock. No, that's not true. No, so I've got a lot of jobs that I have given myself to do. So even though I'm not doing the job as such, I am still doing lots of tasks. Things around the house, things in the garden. I write things down the night before. I've always done this, that I want to do that particular day. Because I find if I write something down, then it's almost like my brain is constantly reminding me that I wrote down, I said that I would do those things today. And I find I achieve a lot more if I write things down, almost like a list of goals. It could be anything. It could be, write email to a friend. It could be dig weeds out of garden. Or check level of oil in tank. I just write everything down. And then I like to cross them off my list as I go through the day. And then at the end of the day, it feels like I've achieved something. So at the moment, I haven't run out of things to put on my to-do list. That's what you call it, isn't it? If a list of things that you want to do that day,
yes.
You call it a to-do list. T-O-D-O, a to-do list. Things that you want to do.
Things that you want to do or things that must be done. I think so.
They say time goes faster the older you get.
Oh.
That's what they say.
Yes.
But then I don't know if that's true or not because...
Well, apparently scientists have worked out why we feel that way. Because, of course, many of your memories of your life are not kept with you. So most of the things, and I always think this is slightly depressing, but most of the things that have ever happened to you in your life, you've actually completely forgotten about. They've gone. And as you get older, because those gaps are there, when you look back, it seems the illusion is that time has been much shorter than it actually was in reality, because your memory isn't able to store everything that you've done every single day. Imagine all the things you do every day, Steve. Just simple things, having breakfast, getting up, doing certain things, going to the shops, all of these events that happen every day, and they take time. You have to take time to do them, but your brain isn't going to bother storing all of that information because it's just routine, it's mundane. So as you get older, because there are those gaps in your memory, because you don't remember all of the things you've done, the illusion is that the time is much shorter. And that's really why we tend to have more memories of our childhood. Our childhood memories seem to always stay with us because at that time you are absorbing more information, you're remembering more things. But as you get older, of course, you don't need to keep learning and remembering things. So what happens eventually is you have these strange gaps in your memory. Is that
what you're finding you're getting already, Mr. Duncan? Are you speaking from experience here?
Well, yes. Well, apparently this is what scientists are saying because it's a bit like having a videotape of your life, but it's been edited. So if you edit out those bits that have been deleted or not remembered by your brain, the videotape will be much shorter.
That's a bit scary, Mr. Duncan.
It is. It's actually just an illusion, though. So that's the comforting thing. It is an illusion created because you don't remember everything in your brain. It's like watching an edited film.
That's why it's important to carry on doing things and being busy in your later years. And as we know, Lewis is a great example of somebody who is always doing something, always occupying his life with new things, and despite being, let's say, a senior citizen, and filling his life full of new things, new experiences, coming on here onto the live stream, and thus, hopefully, he feels as though his life is progressing at about the same speed as it always did.
And of course, I should say, can I just say,
keeps you young.
Can I just say, Steve, hello to Luis Mendez is here today.
Well, Lewis says time goes faster as you get older. He's saying that it goes faster.
Yes.
Maybe you're doing too much then. You're not bored enough. You need to get a bit bored and then time will pass more slowly.
Well, I think that is
it will appear to.
That is the unfortunate paradox, I think, of getting older, is that you want to use your time effectively, but then the time seems to go faster. So there is a strange, almost like a paradox or an unfortunate occurrence where the busier you are, the faster time goes. So I suppose people who have dull lives and do little every day, their lives must seem very long, but not particularly exciting.
There's the paradox. If you want to appear that your life is extending for longer, you have to be bored, but then the life would be not very worthwhile. So it's best probably to fill your life with lots of things. Claudia says, I have to look at photographs to remember what I've been doing. And that brings up an interesting point, because Mr. Duncan films everything. Is always photographing everything and filming things. And what I've found is that if now I can look back and see and remember things that I'd forgotten that I was doing. So it is important, I think. I don't bother, you see. I'm very, very poor at, for example, keeping a diary. Some people keep a diary of everything they've done every day so that they can look back and that will jog the memory, so that if you look at something like a photograph and suddenly those events come back to mind, come back into your mind again. It's just sometimes a photograph or something written down will, oh yes, I remember. We did that, didn't we?
Well, I think
jog the memory.
I think social media, and we were talking about this the other day about people who share things on their Facebook site or their Twitter feed. And I think these days social media has become almost a sort of diary. So people are saying or recording things they've done or showing photographs. And then, of course, because the website is always there, we hope, the pictures and the memories are also there as well. And it's very easy to check when those things happened because of the dates.
Maybe that's why I should get on social media, Mr. Duncan, and put photographs on there just for myself so that I can remember what I did a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago. So it's a very good. I hope Claudia, you remember how to fix people's teeth when somebody opens their mouth and oh, I can't remember. How do I fill that cavity?
Well, fortunately, that's why dentists take X-rays. You see, so they've got a permanent reminder of each patient's teeth.
I'm only joking. Well, Mr. Duncan, we've already. What time is it? Yes, we've already managed to blast our way through nearly half an hour.
Yes, well, more than that, 35 minutes. So, since Mr. Steve has retired, or he's taking a rest from working, you might say that you now have this. You have time on your hands.
Yes.
You have time on your hands. I love this expression, actually, because it means that you can take it easy. It's a very positive, and I suppose it's a positive phrase that tells us that we can take it easy today. There is nothing more satisfying, and I'm sure you will agree with me, Steve, there's nothing more satisfying than working hard and then knowing that you can take a rest at some point, that you can have a little bit of time to yourself. You have some time on your hands.
Time on your hands, yes, that means you have spare time. Yes, you would think that I had time on my hands, but so far it is not. In fact, what I've been thinking is what a lot of people who retire say, even though I probably haven't retired, it feels like it, that they cannot imagine how they used to fit in all the things that they used to do outside work and be able to work at the same time. Because, I mean, I've been doing so many things in the garden and around the house that I can't imagine how I could fit work in. And, of course, the answer is what I used to do is rush around at the weekends or in the evenings, frantically trying to get those jobs done that I wanted to do in the garden or around the house. And that became quite a stressful thing because I would be trying to fit them all in, jam all those jobs into the weekend. But now I don't have to, so it's quite good. I can spread them out and be more relaxed. Maybe I'm just spending longer on each task than I otherwise would have done.
Well, you certainly have given yourself some big things to do as well. I mean, I have to say I'm pretty impressed. Please make note that I am saying something nice to Mr. Steve. Ooh. You might notice I'm being very nice.
Must remember this.
I'm being very nice to Steve today. Have you noticed? And I think you've done an amazing amount of work in the garden, planting those trees, for example. It's incredible. So now, every day, we can look out the window and we can slowly see those trees growing, getting taller, stronger. And over the next 2 or 3 years, Steve and also myself, we can relax and watch those trees flourish.
Hopefully, as long as the frost doesn't kill them, the beast from the east doesn't. I might have to go out there and put some protective matting around the top of the soil so that the frost doesn't get into the roots.
Yes, that's the only problem now because winter's coming and small plants, maybe young trees, they might have a difficult time if we have a very strong or cold winter.
I'll go out there and put an electric blanket on them to warm the soil up. I have covered the soil in... anyway, that's a bit boring.
Yes.
Yes, we won't go on about my plants
But
again.
I'm just saying it's impressive how you've done all that work. So you have been filling your time, and I suppose that's another expression about time. You sometimes fill your time. So that means you are doing something during that period. So maybe you have an afternoon where you have very little to do. Maybe you don't want to relax. So instead you find something to do. So instead of having time on your hands where you can relax, maybe you find that you have some time that you want to fill. You fill the time. You use the time for a certain thing.
Somebody might, a neighbour or a friend might say, oh, can you help me move house, or can you help me with some DIY in the house? And you might say, well, yeah, I've got time on my hands at the moment. I'm quite happy to do that. Or help out at a charity. Somebody might say, oh, do you want to get involved in our charity? Would you like to help after school with the children? And you might say, well, yeah, actually, I've got time on my hands at the moment. I could help you with that. It's a good phrase to use. Or you might say to somebody, "Oh, have you got any time on your hands at the moment to help me, move some boxes or some whatever it might be?" You might call up a friend and say, "Oh, have you got some time on your hand at the moment? I want to decorate a room, and would you be able to come and help me?" Or something like that.
Or you might ask a person when they are free. So when they have some spare time. So you ask a person if they are free next weekend because you want them to help you with something. Can I say hello to Carmen Furtado, who says, I love your lessons very much. I am from Brazil and I am 75, but I love idioms. I know a little Spanish and French, but English is in the first place. Oh, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve. Thank you, Carmen. It's very nice to see you here. And I suppose it's a good moment to mention that we are with you quite a lot during this month. We are sharing the weekend with you. On Saturday, we will be at the Much Wenlock Christmas Fair, having some fun, eating lots of awful junk food, but also delicious food.
Lewis says, could anyone define the word eternity? Isn't it a perfume by a celebrity?
Eternity. Well, I suppose eternity is a little bit like infinity. So the symbol, you know the symbol for infinity? It's like a number 8 on its side.
That's right.
So you go on. And the idea is, the reason why the symbol is an 8 on its side is because you can go round and round. It seems to go on forever, so it's never ending. You can go round and round and round and round forever. So eternity is forever.
It's a very, very long time.
Yes, well, it's you might even say it's never ending. It's without end. It's time that has no end. So maybe you might say that if you are in love with someone, you might pledge your love for someone, and you will say that your love will last till the end of time, or for eternity. Indefinitely is another one, although indefinitely can also mean for a certain period until things change. So it's not quite the same thing indefinitely. It can mean for a long time, or it can mean until those things change back to how they are. But infinity or eternity is the concept of time never ending, going on and on and on.
So you can sometimes think of eternity of just being a very, very long time. That wasn't me. And you can use the word, say for example, you're in a boring meeting at work. You can say, oh, this meeting is going on for an eternity. and that's just indicating that it's going on seemingly forever. When is this meeting going to end? It's like an eternity. So you can use that phrase to mean just a very, very long time, or almost immeasurably. But it also is a perfume, a brand of perfume by a certain celebrity whose name I can't remember. But yes, well, eternity just means a very, very long time, probably infinity.
Eternity is by Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein, there we go. But yes, it would have had a capital E, presumably, if we were referring to a particular perfume. Yeah, but yeah, eternity. Oh, this meeting is going on for an eternity. Oh, this live stream by Mr. Duncan seems to be going on for an eternity.
That's true.
Yes, which nobody, of course, would ever say, but I'm just using that as an example. Somebody said, whose name I can't read because I think it's in Cyrillic, why don't you speak about the World Cup? Well,
that's Arabic.
Yeah, Arabic, sorry, yes. So we can't actually read your name. I can't read Arabic, I do apologise.
And I know why. I know why you want us to talk about the World Cup, because I suppose we should mention it briefly. We're not big football fans, Mr. Steve and myself. We don't really follow football as it is. But I suppose it's worth mentioning that England did very well the other night playing Wales, and a lot of people predicted that they would win. I think it would have been very embarrassing.
It would have been a disaster.
It would have been very embarrassing if England had not won that particular match. So there, we've mentioned it now.
We've mentioned it, yes. Yeah, I am sort of... we're not football fans, we don't really follow it, but at the same time I am interested. So I had a rehearsal the other night when the England-Wales match was on, so I wasn't... Well, I wouldn't have watched it, but somebody had it on their phone, sort of sneakily looking at it while we were rehearsing, and we were all quite interested as to what was happening. So yeah, I mean, feel free if you want to talk about it in the live chat. Feel free to talk about it.
I'm just wondering, Steve, whether it was more from the political.
Yes, could be.
Aspect.
Yes, yeah, we know that there's a lot of.
So maybe you were thinking that we weren't mentioning it because of that, but no, we're just not very interested in football.
We have spoken about the controversies around the World Cup in previous live streams, so we have already spoken about that and covered that subject, because Mr. Duncan, if you're new to this channel, Mr. Duncan is doing live streams quite regularly, at least twice a week, and through December virtually every day.
Yes.
So quite often we've already spoken about certain current events, one of them being the controversies around the World Cup in Qatar.
I hope that during this month we will be able to do around 20. So my aim is to do 20 live streams this month, including 2 next weekend. Saturday we are live at the Christmas fair, freezing all of our little parts off. So I think it might be quite cold next Saturday. So yes, we will be wearing lots of clothes, to be honest. And Steve will be there as well.
Yes. Yes, Lewis makes a point that you can't actually... When Lewis is saying you can't define the word eternity, I think he probably means you can't imagine what it would feel like. Because we are time-bound. Yeah. As human beings, we don't live forever, so we can only really think in terms of maybe the average age is 75. So thinking beyond that is a very difficult concept for us. Maybe if you're a turtle or a sponge living in the sea, who live for very long periods of time. Turtles, don't they live for 200 years or something?
Yeah. Well, did you see the video? There's a video at the moment going around the internet of a snapping turtle, and this particular turtle is, I think it's about 101 years old, and it's the now if you imagine in your mind what a 101-year-old snapping turtle might look like. That is the image. That is exactly what it looks like. It did look as if it was 101 years old, to be honest. And we also found out why they're called snapping turtles, because they snap. They try to bite or snap at everything they see. So
Beatrice is going. Bye, Beatrice.
Oh.
She's going to watch the rest of it later. She's got a medical exam, so thank you for sharing that with us. Good to have a checkup to make sure that you are in perfect health, so that your life can continue for much longer.
That's one way of looking at it.
Yes, so Beatrice's time on this earth hopefully will be a lot longer because she's had a medical examination and might pick up something that needs attending to.
You have such a way with words.
Oh, yes, that's it. That's why I'm on here, Mr. Duncan. But yes, hope your checkup's all right, and we'll see you maybe on Saturday. What else are we going to talk about today, Mr. Duncan?
Oh, we have lots of things to talk about, Steve. When a person puts on a performance, and I always like to think that this is a type of performance, would you say?
I don't know what you mean, Mr. Duncan.
No, that's not performing, though. That's just shouting.
I know, I'm just joking.
Performing. Now, that's one of the things I used to always say about teaching. If you're standing in a classroom in front of lots of sometimes very hard to please students staring at you, you might find that you have to put on a bit of a show. So I always think teaching is a little bit like performing. You are standing on a stage in front of your audience, except you are not in a theatre, you are actually at the front of a classroom, and your audience are the students. So I think sometimes teaching is a little bit like putting on a show. I think so.
Yes, you've got to be doing something that is probably not the way you would normally behave. Whenever there's a group of people and you have to say something in front of that group of people, you have to put on some kind of performance. You have to do something above and beyond what you would normally do if you were just talking to, say, a friend one-to-one.
Yes.
Otherwise, it gets a bit boring for people.
You might even have to exaggerate slightly to do that. So I always think that you need, whatever you're doing, if you are, I suppose if you're giving a lecture, or maybe if you are doing a presentation. Steve, I can tell you a little story here. I remember way back in, was it 2019, we went to Paris, and Steve was called in because we were actually having a lovely free trip from your company, weren't we?
But the company that I no longer work for.
Steve had to give a speech, didn't you? You had to give a presentation because you'd been awarded a prize.
Probably. Yes.
Probably.
Were you there? I can't remember.
I wasn't at the presentation, no. I was standing on a street corner in Paris.
That's right.
Doing a live stream.
On the Champs-Élysées.
Yes, I wasn't on the Champs-Élysées.
Oh, you were by the hotel, that's correct.
That's it. And I stood on the street corner, but Steve had to give this presentation, and you had to talk about why you were so great at your job, and you had to I remember you being rather annoyed because you really wanted to rest and walk around Paris, but instead you had to give a presentation. But they always seem to like you doing it, don't they?
I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, that was interesting. I was speaking to somebody today, an ex-colleague of mine that left a couple of years ago and went to work for another company. Mm-hmm. So I used to work for a French company, great company to work for. And he worked for the same company as I did for many years. He went to work for an American company, and he said the difference in when he has to go to conferences, sales conferences, was immense. He said when you used to, because I've never worked for an American company, I've only ever worked for a French company, for the last 26 years. And I always thought our conferences were quite relaxed. There would be a bit of, bosses presenting from the front. and a few workshops, but then you would get quite a lot of time to yourself to explore wherever you were and maybe go for drinks with colleagues and things. So work wouldn't start till sort of 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'd be finished by sort of 4. And sometimes it was just the morning. It was quite relaxed, very continental, very French. And he's now working for this American company. And he said when you go to conferences at this company, they start at 8 o'clock in the morning. They go through till 6 o'clock at night, and it's constant lectures from bosses and this, that, and the other, and workshops. And they're doing sort of twice as much, and they don't get any time to themselves at all.
No.
So he said he had to go to Athens last month for a work conference, and was there for 3 days and didn't even go outside the hotel. They only had like an hour off an evening. So what's the point of going all the way there? Well, but it just shows you the difference between. When I said to him, well, were you achieving a lot more if you were doing a lot more than you would have done when you were working with a French company that we used to work for? Were you achieving a lot more? Were you doing more practice selling? Did you learn a lot more? And he said, no, absolutely nothing. He said, because most of the lectures were just from the front. So it was you sitting there all day with various people coming on, giving lectures. And of course, you get bored and you switch off.
Yes.
And it's pointless information about how the company's doing in some other far-flung country. You're not interested. So, yeah, the relaxed approach and giving you time off to get to know colleagues and socialise was a much nicer experience working for the French company.
And I suppose that's one of the things we always think about with the French culture is a lot more relaxed and laid back in certain situations, whether it's family, social gatherings, or I suppose also in the workplace as well. You might find a very similar situation. We only have 5 minutes, Steve.
That's what used to annoy me quickly about Brexit, Mr. Duncan, was that people were, in this country, a lot of the people who wanted to leave Europe were saying, oh, we want to be British. And I used to keep saying to them, well, you look at France, look at Germany, look at Italy, all the other countries in Europe. The French people aren't any less French. The German people aren't any less German just because they're in the EU. They're still French, they're still German. Didn't make any difference. We wouldn't have been we were never any different. So it was a pointless argument, but there we go. Culture is not going to go away. It's always going to be there, and it's vital. Yeah. Anyway, 5 minutes. That's all we got, Mr. Duncan. 5 minutes. It seems like time has flown, Mr. Duncan.
Well, everyone's life experience is different. No one has the same life. You might meet a random person in the street and find out all sorts of things about the world that you didn't know just from their own experiences. So I often think that culture is not groups of people. Quite often you can find culture can be an individual. One person can offer a lot to other people just from their own personal experiences. But it's much easier. It's much easier to group people together. I think that's true. I think it's easier to group people together and just say, that is the society, that is the group of people. But within those groups, there is a lot of individuality, people who have their own experiences. So we all have something to offer each other. But I think these days we've become a little bit too obsessed with that sort of thing, where we put people into groups. And if you appear to have a certain point of view, then you are immediately placed in that group. But I think we all have things to offer. We are all individuals, and each one of us has our own culture, our own way of perceiving the world around us.
We've got Mary here from Canada at the moment as well.
Mary Fur.
Yes. We've got all sorts of new people as well. From Iraq, we've got Shihab Ahmed from Iraq. Lots of new people. Dudika's here, of course. Beatrice has gone, I think, hasn't she? FFHH. Who are you? We'd like to know who small f, little h, little h is
Okay, Steve.
question mark.
This is how the
Please say
closing
something.
moments of our show is going.
I thought you might carry on for a bit longer. Sometimes we extend it, don't we?
I don't know.
Numbers seem to be going up. Seem to be more people joining, Mr. Duncan.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thanks for bringing that to us. So when you put on a performance, we often say that you should give a little bit more, exaggerate slightly, maybe give it some sparkle. Do you like that, Steve? Sparkle.
I like a few sparkles, Mr. Duncan.
Sparkle is a great word because you might say that it's something that is flashing or has lots of light, or maybe something that is flickering. Sparkle. But also, if you are putting on a performance, if you are performing in some way, you might need to have a little bit of energy as well. Some sparkle. You bring something extra to the performance. Another one, and I like this one, Steve, especially during the early parts of the year when we have all of the award ceremonies. Glitz. I like that one as well. So glitz, when people are attending an important function or a dinner party, or maybe there is an award ceremony taking place, we often use the word glitz.
Like with Hollywood, when they're doing the Oscars, glitz. It just is a way of making something seem more than it is. Glitz and sparkle. Maybe the more glitz and sparkle you have, sometimes the less substance there is in the subject that's being talked about. Because really, I mean, awards ceremonies for films. I mean, I know films are... We like to watch films, but it's not really real life, is it? I mean, I'm being controversial. So, I mean, you're not talking about... So you've got to sort of make it glitzy and sparkly, and all the ladies have have dresses on that make them stand out from the crowd.
Yes.
And they might have a hat on at a jaunty angle,
A hat.
or they might have lots of glitter on. And because something like the Oscars, it's an event that, I mean, it's really nothing going on, is there? I mean, it's awards for a film.
Okay.
I mean, and so you have to make it seem more than it is.
Well, isn't that just what show business, when you think about it?
Yeah.
Show business is just everything is exaggerated. And I think it's much harder now to keep people's attention. And that's one of the reasons why the internet is the place where people go now for their quick fix. Because quite often you can watch something that just lasts for a few seconds now. If you go over to TikTok, the average video is around about 10 seconds. So it's amazing. But I think, yes, sometimes it's very hard to capture people's attention. Here's another one, razzmatazz.
Oh, right.
Oh,
yes.
I like that word. When you think of show business, razzmatazz, you have to put on a performance. You have to give it slightly more than you would in real life. When you talk to people in real life, you might say that it's a normal moment, or maybe not particularly interesting. But when you are putting on a performance, you have to have a little bit of razzmatazz.
Lots of lights, lots of music, that sort of upbeat music, glitter, lights, sound, lots of things to distract you. Razzmatazz, yes, it's often used in... I mean, if you're giving a speech at work or a performance, you've got to do a presentation somewhere. People just don't want boring slides with sort of just bullet points all the way through. You've got to, if you want to engage people and get people's interest, you've got to add some sparkle or a bit of razzmatazz or something. Because if you haven't got people's attention, you might be conveying the most wonderful information to a group of people, important, wonderful information, but unless it's done in a way that is engaging to the audience, then they'll switch off and won't take in that information. So you have to do something, you have to bring something out of yourself to make that information come across in a way. And what they say is that if you want your presentation to have impact, an impactful presentation, you want to engage all the senses. So you want the sound, you want people's hearing to be engaged, you want the visuals to be engaged. Particularly when you're doing it's difficult to get your taste and your sense of smell, if you're doing a presentation. But certainly you want something to capture the attention.
Yes.
Because then people's senses are heightened, and when your senses are heightened, and your interest is there, then you will be more likely to take that information in. And information just from sound isn't necessarily going to go into your brain and be easy to remember.
That's why speaking
is visuals, sound.
Okay, Steve.
Engaging all the senses.
Yeah, that's why it's hard to give speeches. I think there are many people who can remember words and give a speech, but they don't make it particularly interesting. So I can think of lots of people who I could listen to for hours and hours. I suppose one of my favourites must be Christopher Hitchens, sadly no longer around, but he has the most amazing, or had the most amazing ability to convey his thoughts and feelings, and never in a dull way. So he's one of those people that I always think of. So it is very hard to convey information, especially if you are giving a speech and people are sitting watching you. So sometimes you do have to turn on a little bit of that charm.
Of course, if you're really, some people naturally have that. If you really deeply believe in the subject you're talking about, normally you'll be excited about it, and you will, that'll come across to the audience. The best speakers are people, they don't necessarily add any glitz or glamour to their presentation, but it's because they're so sincere about what they're talking about, then you remember it and it becomes very engaging to watch.
Talking of things that are engaging, we will be with you on Saturday, and we will be with you from 2 p.m. UK time on Saturday with a live stream from the Much Wenlock Christmas Fair. Definitely, that's what we are doing on Saturday. We will be it will be very interesting to find out what actually happens, because the weather, and also hopefully we will get a mobile signal so we can actually do it. So we will see what happens. It's time to say goodbye, but we will be back with you on Saturday. It will begin at 2 p.m. on Saturday. I think we will just keep it the same. Even though we are at a live event, we will keep it in the same form, and we will be with you from 2 p.m. on Saturday, live at the Much Wenlock Christmas Fair. Thank you, Mr. Steve.
Okay, Mr. Duncan, bye-bye to you all, and I shall be joining Mr. Duncan on Saturday, so I shall see you there at 2 p.m. as well. Maybe we can add some glitz and glamour to make up for the boring, staid Christmas fair that is in Much Wenlock. But it's not really. Not really. It's quite exciting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting because it's a sort of a cultural event. It's a sort of a local event. So it will hopefully be quite engaging for you to see what people do in the country, in Much Wenlock, around Christmas time.
Yes.
It's a cultural event.
I think we don't want to build it up too much, just in case it is very boring.
Well, there'll be music, there'll be dancing,
anyway,
there'll be all sorts of things.
We've got to go, Steve.
All right, Mr. Duncan. See you all on Saturday.
Thank you, Steve. And there he goes. Make the most of those last moments as you're looking at the handsome face, those eyes drawing you in. Thank you, Mr. Steve. And there he was. Mr. Steve was here, and now he is not. See you on Saturday. I will be with you from 2 p.m. UK time. And, of course, until the next time we meet, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I hope December will be a good month for you. And of course, ta-ta for now.